Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling uneasy, like something was off, but you couldn't quite put your finger on it? Maybe it was a friend, a co-worker, or even a family member. They smiled, they laughed, they said all the right things, but something about their energy told you otherwise. You see, that gut feeling, it wasn't paranoia. It was your intuition picking up on hidden resentment. You see, resentment is a silent killer of relationships. It's like a slow poison, undetectable at first, but over time, it seeps into words, actions, and even the smallest interactions. It builds in the shadows, hidden behind politeness, masked with passive aggression. But if you don't know how to detect it, it can cost you. It can cost you trust, connection, and even your peace of mind. Today, I'm going to teach you how to spot hidden resentment before it turns into explosion, or worse, before it silently erodes your relationship. I'll show you the subtle signs in people's words and actions so you can protect yourself, address it head on, and even heal fractured relationships before it's too late. Let me start with this. Why do people hide their resentment? You see, most people don't openly admit they are resentful. Why, you may ask? Because resentment is uncomfortable. It's a mix of frustration, disappointment, and often unspoken pain. Maybe they feel unheard, undervalued, or betrayed in some way. But instead of addressing it directly, they suppress it. And when people suppress emotions, those emotions don't just disappear, they find sneaky ways to leak out. Think about it. Have you ever been around someone who said, I'm fine, but their tone was just a little too sharp? Or they said something technically nice, but with an energy that felt off? That's resentment showing itself in disguise. Now, we're going to discuss 7 hidden signs of resentment in words and actions. Number 1, subtle but consistent sarcasm. You see, sarcasm is often seen as humor, but when resentment is involved, it's humor with a sting. It's a way of saying what they really feel, but with enough of a laugh to make it seem like they're joking. For example, you ask for their opinion on a project and they say, oh, sure, because my opinion always matters so much around here. Look, that's not a joke. It's a loaded statement disguised as humor. Number 2, backhanded compliment. You see, resentment often slips out in the form of compliment that doesn't feel like compliment at all. These are statements that seem kind on the surface but have an underlying dig. For example, wow, you actually did a good job on this one. It must be nice to have some free time to work on yourself. See the problem? It's praise wrapped in a slap. Number 3, delayed responses or avoidance. You see, when someone is resentful, they might not openly express it, but their behavior will shift. They'll start taking longer to respond to texts or calls. They might start forgetting to invite you to things or conveniently being too busy whenever you need them. It's a silent way of saying, I don't value this relationship as much as I used to. Number 4, doing the bare minimum with a slight attitude. You see, when someone is resentful but still obligated to help or be around you, they'll do only what they have to, nothing more, nothing less. For example, you ask for their help with something and they say, fine, I'll do it. But their tone makes it clear that they don't want to. They do the task, but there is a coldness to it, a stiffness. The work gets done, but there is no warmth or real care. Number 5, frequent forgetfulness or subtle sabotage. You see, a resentful person might start accidentally dropping the ball. They forget to do things that matter to you. They don't follow through on promises. But here is the key, it's not random, it happens consistently and in ways that's inconvenient to you. It's their subconscious way of saying, I don't want to prioritize you because I feel unprioritized myself. Number 6, unnecessary comparison. You see, resentful people often start comparing you to others in ways that make you feel small. For example, wow, Sarah's boyfriend always does the sweetest things for her. I wish I had that kind of time you do to work out every day. Translation, they feel like they are losing and they're letting you know it. Number 7, a change in energy that you can feel. You see, sometimes resentment is so subtle that it's so hard to pinpoint what changed, but you can feel it. The warmth is gone, the enthusiasm is missing, conversations feel forced. This is your intuition picking up on micro expressions and the invisible walls they've built. So, what do you do when you detect resentment? Now that you know how to spot it, the next step is addressing it, and here is how. Number 1, name it without blaming. Instead of saying you're acting resentful, try, hey, I noticed a shift in our conversations lately. Is something bothering you? It opens the door without putting them on the defensive. Number 2, give them space to be honest. People hide resentment because they're afraid of conflict. Make it safe for them to open up. You can say something like, I'd rather talk things through than have unspoken tension between us. I value our relationship too much for that. Number 3, reflect on your own actions. Sometimes we contribute to someone's resentment without realizing it. Ask yourself, have I dismissed their feelings? Have I taken more than I have given? If you realize you've played a role, own it, apologize. Resentment often melts when someone simply acknowledges the hurt they caused. Number 4, set boundaries if needed. If someone is resentful but refuses to address it, you might need to set boundaries. You can't force someone to be honest or to change. What you can do is decide how much energy you'll keep investing in that dynamic. You see, the ability to detect resentment is power. Power to protect your peace, power to heal relationships before they collapse, power to stop letting unspoken negativity drain your energy. Resentment is sneaky, but now you know the signs. Now you have the tools to spot it and address it before it destroys the trust between you and someone you care about. Now, let me ask you again. Have you ever felt something was off with someone? Now, after this conversation, do you think it was hidden resentment all along? And most importantly, what are you going to do about it? Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.